Wow, I had no idea I was ever going to have to make a video about this because to be honest, this luckily doesn't happen that often to me. Let's just get straight into it. I'm visually impaired. There you go. You basically probably didn't know this. And although I am visually impaired, I can still play video games quite well in my opinion. I think so. I don't think there are many games that really give me a disadvantage or disadvantage that's actually making the game worse and not giving me the full experience. However, this time for the first time in 7 years, it is unfortunately happening in Bee Swarm Simulator. So this needs to be addressed. Why I'm making this video, I just want to have a platform to tell my complaint. I posted it in the suggestions channel in the Bee Swarm Discord. Obviously, it's not going to be looked at. I just wanted to post it there because I wanted to see, hey, maybe there's someone else who agrees. There are people who have suggested the same thing who aren't even visually impaired. So this thing overall, it needs some changes. So basically what I'm talking about is the new chat. In Bee Swarm, this is kind of a terrible thing. Bee Swarm has its own custom chat, or well, had, because this is not its custom chat. I'm pretty sure. If it is, wow, Onett conquer. What the heck just happened? Whoa, that's a new thing I just noticed then. Basically, this chat is barely readable for me as a visually impaired person. Editor Rick here. I wasn't too sure how the chat looked in other Roblox games, and I didn't really check that before recording because the recording was a spontaneous idea. But this already seems to be the new custom chat. I'm not too sure, so I'm still saying I think, but either way, it is quite terrible, and this is why. Okay, so now you can see just the text, right? If I'm flying over the map, it's barely visible to see what's basically in the chat. Now that, has to do with the colors that are in the background, like with the hives. Oh, now this thing is appearing. That's making it easier. Hold on. Yeah, so with these hive colors, it's already a lot easier to read if there's, this thing between the hives. However, if there are hives, it's a lot harder already. If there's like a blue background, yeah, basically impossible to read. If there's an orange background, impossible to read. But that is not the only issue I have with the chat. This chat is basically too small. Oh yeah, there you have this blue glitch again. Well, why is that? Anyway, you cannot really make the chat bigger or something, at least not that I'm aware of. But basically the text in here is just too small for me to properly read, so this chat basically needs to be a bit bigger. To kind of give you, and maybe Onett if he's actually watching this, to give you an idea of what's possible for me to read, just read. I'll start a quick round of the Roblox challenge. Okay, now I've had issues with this UI ever since its release basically. This thing is basically just a little too small, but it is doable. I can read it, that's fine. Sometimes I go into the wrong fields because I just read it as a different field, but it happens, okay? It happens. I don't really have any problems with that, but that's basically the smallest it should be. It cannot be this small as the current chat. Also another thing, right? So if I just, go with the chat so that this thing on the side appears, this is somewhat readable for me. However, it's a really interesting background color choice. The text is white, the background color is blue. That's not really a really smart background color. I'm not sure if there should be any background color in the first place, because to be honest, there are barely any background colors that actually work. However, blue is just literally terrible. I can barely read what's on here right now. In fact, if I really want to read, I'll have to sit like this in front of my screen. And I still have to read really well. Like, it's not easy, man. I just want to, look at my screen from just like usual, just the distance as usual. There's, what's it, like half a meter at least, the distance between me and the screen. I just want to be able to read the chat properly while sitting here. Okay, let me just send a quick chat message real quick. Let's just do this. So yeah, I can read it here, just about fine. It works. But here in this chat, it's just small, bro. I really started to notice this. Like, I joined my private server 2 days ago. Some friend of mine joined me. He said, "Hey Rick." And I was like, wait, what even did he say? Whoa, this chat is small now, bro. This is just a way to hopefully be able to contact Onett or, bring this to Onett's attention that this chat needs to get back to the custom BSS chat ASAP, literally as soon as possible. This is just not giving the full experience. I know that even people without a visual impairment, once again, who cannot even read the chat properly. Onett, I know you want to change it to the custom chat, but you cannot wait months for this, bro. You cannot do that. I actually think Bee Swarm had a great run. In my opinion, it doesn't need any updates anymore. There's just one update it needs now, and that's that the chat needs to go back to the custom BSS chat. And if this is actually the custom BSS chat, please change it. Here's actually a little screenshot from the chat when Mondo spawned, and I was really confused what did he even try to say, because at first I thought it was like a glitched message or something like that. It was like half of the message was actually in the chat. The top and bottom were cut off because they weren't able to properly be put in the chat. It just ended up being the background. That was basically what messed up the way I looked at it. I know Mondo spawned because the emoji, but you know, apart from that, it just looked weird at first glance. I hope you somewhat enjoyed this video. I wasn't really supposed to be just an enjoyable video. I just want to make this video as criticism. I don't need to be a popular creator, right? I just want to get this message across. Onett, please, 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 please change this. I hope to see you in the next video. Which, by the way, probably is going to be about the Gloomy Cup. Please, please, please share this with someone so that Onett knows he cannot wait 6 months until changing the chat. Goodbye.